In this video, I'm going to show you how to render audio in Reaper. So let's get started. Now, it doesn't matter if you're going to record a chapter per file or all the chapters per one file. You want to make sure the first thing that you do is that you're going to export your master. You want to make sure all your volumes are correct. You want to turn off the effects, and then you want to render the file and put it out. Then if you're happy with everything, you've listened to it, and you want to render it, you want to make sure all your effects are on, and you want to render it out that way so all the levels are correct and everything. So you can do that. You want to make sure everything is muted, but I have a custom action for that, of course, and so I'm going to show you what that is. So you're going to come up here, and you're going to go to Show Action List, and then here I have Render Narration Original. And so you come to here, and I'll have this information in the notes so you don't have, if you can't see it well on your screen, come up here. First of all, track, unmute all tracks. I want to make sure they're unmuted. And then it says track, bypass effects on all tracks. So bypass means turn off all effects. Then render project to disk. And then I'll bring up the render window, and I'll show you the settings for that in just a minute. The other one for Narration Master, it's pretty much the same thing. You unmute all tracks, and then you unbypass or turn on all the effects on the tracks, then you render it to the disk. So that just helps me that, I don't have to check and, do it incorrectly. And so it just helps me really quickly. So I just have a shortcut key for that. So one chapter per file, I'm going to render that as the original. So I'm going to do my shortcut, and it brings up it. You see it turned off the effects here, and it unmuted everything. And then the settings that you're going to have is master mix, and then you want the entire project. Then you choose your directory that you want, and then you can use wildcards. So if you click here, and then you can go to project information and choose wildcards, and it will put in the project name that you name your project here. And so if you say, John 3 or John 1 right here, then it will put it in here. We do the sample rate as 44.1. We find that is adequate for what we're doing here. Mono, we want the file smaller. And here, a lot of times it's set up as a wave, and that's fine if you do that, but we do FLAC, and I have a video showing why we do that. And then I want it to be the slowest, or this right here, most compression. And so you can save that, and then I'm going to render it, and you're going to see how it looks different from when I do the master. So when I put it out, oh yes, I need to overwrite that. And so it's smaller. You can see it pretty much looks just like this. And you want your original, because if something messes up, or sometimes you have to come back later, you want to go to the originals and use the markers, and then you can reprocess it. Say that you process it, with the masters and it was way too loud. You want to come back to the originals. Okay, in this example, I have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and you go all the way out to the whole thing. But say now, I've listened to it for 3 chapters, and now I want to start doing my masters. And I like doing my masters shortly afterwards, because if you adjust the gate here, well, it's going to be adjusting the gate here. So I want to make sure that whatever I do to this one only impacts this one. So I might wait 3 chapters, but I want to go back and listen to this again. But later on, after I get done with chapter 4, I just go ahead and do the original, I do the master. So we'll go ahead and go back to chapter 1 here, and I double click on it. And this is how I do it, because I want to highlight this. And so this is how it's going to know what to do. It's not going to render this. It will just render chapter 1 because I double clicked on it. If I want chapter 2, I double click on 2, and it just does chapter 2. So these regions are important when you're doing all the chapters in one file. So I'll go to chapter 1, and then I do my shortcut to bring this up, and you can see that it turned the effect on. It was off just a minute ago or a second ago, and then it brings it in. And so the settings are different. You come in here and you go to time selection. So that is choosing, right here you see this white area, that's the time selection. So it's just going to render that. And here we do the wildcard, then I put in an underscore, and then I say down here, region. So now you see that it chose the project name, and then it chose the region, region 1, and it put that in there automatically for me. The rest of the settings are the same as before, and then you can hit here, and then when I render it, you'll be able to see it's different. You can see the peaks here, you can see the loose, the momentary, you can see the average, and I wanted about 16, so I'll be happy with this. You want to listen to it, just don't look at numbers. Listen to it, see how it sounds. Is it too harsh, too compressed? But when it gets done here, it will close the dialog box. And it is going slower because it's running through the effects. So now I'm done there, then I can do number 2, do my shortcut, and you can see it named it chapter 2 because it's based on the region number. And then if I want to close that and I come to here and then I do my thing, now it says chapter 3. So it's naming it automatically for me. Now, when you're choosing your directory, I forgot to mention this, when you're rendering it, make sure your originals go into the original folder and your master track goes into your master track folder. Choose those because they're named the same thing. Here it's 01 because I put that on there, but they'll be named the same. So if it says, do you want to override it? You'll say, oh, I have the wrong folder chosen. So make sure that you put it in the correct folder.